What's the scariest conspiracy theory you've ever heard? Plants cultivate humans for the carbon dioxide. Those Facebook memes of posting a current selfie and a photo of you taken 10 years ago is to program facial recognition software. That there is no such thing as food-safe plastic. This is a regional one, but the idea that Robert Picton, the pig farm serial killer, didn't act alone. The theory goes that the farm was a common party spot for the Vancouver Police Department and Hells Angels, and that was the reason he got away with it for as long as he did. Recently, he died in jail, and the families of his victims are furious he was not able to testify. There were also a lot of sketchy things to do with evidence. When you start looking, it's pretty convincing. Dark forest theory. The idea is that we can't find any evidence of extraterrestrial life because the smart ones are hiding and the less advanced ones have been wiped out by something else. There could be some unknown threat out there that forces intelligent beings to stay hidden from others. The fear of this predator drives them to conceal their existence so effectively that we don't even suspect they're out there. Maybe we just haven't realized yet that it's safer to stay in the shadows because one day that predator might find us too. The current social wars were designed to distract us from the trillions of dollars that went from the middle class to the wealthy. It will continue to happen while people fight over body parts and bedroom activities. The people almost broke through with Occupy Wall St, but the PTB continued to divide people to make sure it can't happen again. Some people believe that NASA faked the moon landings. They think it was all a staged event to win the space race against the Soviet Union. The idea is that the footage was filmed on a set, and all the evidence we've seen is just a well-crafted illusion. Despite countless proofs of the landings being real, this conspiracy theory refuses to die, making it one of the most persistent and eerie beliefs out there. Some believe that our AskReddit is secretly a data-scraping tool for marketing companies. The idea is that big corporations like Disney might use the platform to subtly gather information about what people want. For example, they could pay someone to ask about favorite childhood Disney movies to see which ones should be remade next. The theory suggests that these questions aren't just random, they're strategically designed to farm data from the masses. While I just made this up, it wouldn't be surprising if something like this is actually happening. The thought of our innocent discussions being used for profit adds a creepy twist to our online interactions. Edit. Yes, I'm aware that the idea of Reddit selling data for market research is not exactly novel. The crux of the conspiracy theory is that many questions are not asked by real accounts. Consider a situation where something is trending somewhere else online. Then a question is asked by a user to get a better idea of whether the trend is exploitable in some way or just a flash in the pan. The food we have been eating in the United States is a huge part of the mental illness going on today. Some people are unsettled by the idea that shrimp are basically just underwater bugs. Both shrimp and insects belong to the same group called arthropods, which means they share a lot of similarities. This comparison can make eating shrimp feel a bit strange for those who think of them as ocean-dwelling cousins of crickets and beetles. It's a reminder of how closely related different forms of life can be, even if they seem worlds apart. A small one. Samsung announced that the Galaxy Watch 4 would include a non-invasive continuous glucose monitor, which would allow you to monitor your blood sugar at any time while you wear it, for as long as you own it. A month before the 4 was released, that feature quietly disappeared from all of the marketing, without explanation, and now, years later, is nowhere to be found. I believe Abbott Laboratories, makers of the Freestyle Light Glucometer and the Freestyle Libre continuous glucose monitor systems, panicked, fearing that a non-expiring, non-invasive glucose monitor would be hugely popular among diabetics and devastate their death grip on the market, paid a huge bribe to Samsung to drop the whole thing. that the public school system is intentionally designed to fail students. The theory suggests that schools are structured in a way that stifles creativity and critical thinking, crushing kids' dreams by the time they graduate. The ultimate goal: to push them into low-paying jobs in factories or similar industries, where they become just another cog in the machine. This idea paints a grim picture of an education system that's less about learning and more about conditioning future workers to accept their place in a predetermined, monotonous life. It's a haunting thought that the very institutions meant to empower us might be setting us up for failure instead. Hot dogs and buns come in different numbers on purpose. There's a chilling theory that the South Korean prosecution office bullies people to the point of suicide. While it may sound extreme, the fact that the current president has openly admitted to such practices adds a terrifying layer of truth to it. This idea suggests that the legal system, which should be protecting citizens, is instead using its power to pressure individuals into taking their own lives. It's a deeply disturbing thought that those in positions of authority could be pushing people to such desperate measures. While it might not be the scariest theory out there, the reality behind it makes it all the more unsettling. Here's a new one for you. Spontaneous life is actually extremely common in the universe. We talk about the primordial ooze, where the first proteins formed into a cell and all that. But this theory states that life actually spontaneously arises on a microscopic level constantly. Well, constantly on a universal timescale at least. Not all of it is carbon-based, and in fact, life has formed in many different ways that we don't recognize as true life. However, there is one critical thing that acts as a gateway: reproduction. Almost all life that is spontaneously created lives a short time and dies without reproducing. On our world, there have been 2 instances of spontaneous life that were able to reproduce. 1. The precursor that led to all life as we know it on Earth over millions and millions of years. 2. Viruses. What's scarier than shadow governments and deep states pulling all the levers? That there aren't. It's nobody. We're all just a bunch of apes with opposable thumbs and nobody knows what we're doing. It's not a conspiracy theory, unless it comes from the conspiracy province of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling paranoia. The uncanny valley concept is both fascinating and terrifying because it suggests that there might have been something that looked almost human, but wasn't, and we developed an instinctual fear of it. The idea that our ancestors needed to be wary of something that was nearly human but not quite sends chills down my spine. It's a reminder that there could be more to our evolutionary history than we fully understand, and that fear might be rooted in something very real from the past. The one about Bitcoin being invented by an AI, which is now accumulating a huge amount of computer power by greedy humans building big Bitcoin mining centers to make money, but all they are doing is building an ultra-resilient network for the AI to run on. The AI also has a huge amount of wealth to now pay anonymously to humans to do its dirty work in the physical world. A superintelligence at some point wants more computation and robot arms. Given robot arms aren't all that great, money is the next best thing, as humans will do anything for bigger numbers on their bank account. For me, it's truly terrifying. There's a theory that some instances of the Mandela effect are actually clever advertisements for a firm that specializes in countering the Streisand effect for the ultra-wealthy. The idea is that these bizarre shared false memories are planted intentionally to distract the public from real controversies or to manipulate public perception. By creating confusion and altering what people think they remember, these firms can effectively bury unwanted information. It's a wild concept, but the idea that even our memories could be manipulated for the benefit of the rich adds an eerie twist to the already strange phenomenon of the Mandela effect. There is no witness protection program. The government prepares people to cut all ties and then just kills them instead of relocating. The notion that powerful organizations might be secretly manipulating global events is truly terrifying. The idea that a few influential groups could have so much control over the course of history is deeply unsettling. It makes you wonder just how much of what we see and hear is being orchestrated behind the scenes. The thought that our lives might be influenced by forces we can't even see or understand adds a layer of fear to every major event that unfolds around the world. The mattress mafia. It's not particularly scary, but go read a bit of Commander David Fravor's statement about his F-18 crew that were called to check on an object they had been tracking on the USS Nimitz for weeks in the early 2000s. It was dropping from 80,000 pounds to 20,000 pounds in mere seconds. When they managed to begin tracking it, the radar had trouble picking it up. There was no infrared heat signature for the propulsion of the craft as it hovered over the ocean, and it was pulling Gs no pilot could make without a full blackout. It disappeared from view of both planes and popped back onto the radar 60 miles away, in less than a minute. His crew also took a different video years later of a similar object. Really makes you wonder. There's a full statement of the hearing online. The fact that there's plastic in our blood and every piece of tech is likely listening to us is alarming enough. But what's even scarier is that nobody seems to care. It's like we've accepted these disturbing realities as just another part of modern life. The idea that we're being slowly polluted and constantly surveilled, yet we remain indifferent, paints a bleak picture of how desensitized we've become to the dangers around us. It makes you wonder what it would take for people to finally wake up and take notice. There's a theory that the elites deliberately create chaos and divisions among us, whether it's black versus white, right versus left, or straight versus gay versus trans, to keep us distracted while they continue exploiting everything for their gain. The idea is that these divisions are carefully orchestrated to prevent us from seeing the real issue, the powerful manipulating us for their own profit. It's all about keeping us busy fighting each other, so we don't unite against the true source of the problem, which is driven by money, especially where it intersects with politics. This theory suggests that if we could see through these manufactured conflicts, we might finally address the root cause of the world's problems, greed and corruption at the highest levels. That all this doomer humanity is the real virus monster we are destroying our planet like a cancer type of thinking was made up and spread by corporations to make regular people feel equally culpable for climate change. I'm not killing the planet, and you aren't either. Something like 70% of all global emissions are caused by 100 corporations. They are killing the planet, but no one will go after them because humanity was a mistake, and that cynicism is what will actually do us in. There's a theory that your phone is secretly listening to you 24/7, picking up on everything you say. It's no wonder my ads are always about cat food. My cat must be the one selling my secrets. The thought that our devices might be constantly eavesdropping is creepy enough, but imagining that my own pet is in on the scheme adds a funny yet unsettling twist to it all. It makes you wonder just how much our technology knows about us and what it's really doing with that information. That aliens exist, but we're the only dummies being loud because there's a bigger, scarier race of aliens out there that all the other races are hiding from. Edit. So I'm not saying this is true or arguing that it is, but every time I hear this theory, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I thought we were talking about the scariest conspiracy theories we've ever heard, not arguing our own theories. Don't know why everyone is jumping to tell me I'm wrong. Boeing is killing whistleblowers. That governments allow events to take place so they can implement security restrictions. The riots in the UK and protests across the EU are allowed, possibly even encouraged. The citizens will demand order by any means necessary, and that's when the restrictions will come in. There's a chilling theory that the US government is intentionally lacing street drugs with fentanyl to target and kill poor drug users. The idea behind this is that it's a sinister way to reduce the population of vulnerable people, those who are already struggling and marginalized. While it sounds like something out of a dystopian novel, the mere possibility that such a tactic could be employed is deeply disturbing. It reflects a fear that those in power might go to extreme lengths to control or eliminate those they deem undesirable. Hans Niemann did use a vibrator to cheat on chess. Some people believe that humans are nothing more than a virus slowly destroying the Earth, which they see as a larger living organism. According to this theory, Earth will eventually fight back, like a body getting a fever to rid itself of an infection. The idea that our planet might one day reject us as a way to heal itself is both haunting and humbling. It forces us to consider the impact we're having on the environment and what might happen if the Earth decides it's had enough. It wasn't the scariest BC, it's bullshit, but it was the way it was told to me. That was the scariest. My Whole Foods used to have a bar, IKR, and we'd hang there on Fridays. I was waiting for my friends when some random guy sits down and starts chatting to the Whole Foods worker bartender. This guy's conspiracy theory of all the things he could invent was that Patton Oswalt killed his wife, right? I figured it was a joke or a bit, but this guy was dead serious. The poor makeshift bartender guy and I were sort of sucked into this whole thing. I'm not really sure how to describe how creepy it was, but this guy was just matter-of-fact laying out how Patton had spiked her medicine, faked this whole breakdown thing, then conveniently got remarried a year later as all part of some grand plan. I wasn't sad when my friends showed up and I moved away. This was years ago and that guy still creeps me out. Pizzagate is one of those conspiracy theories that shows just how dangerous misinformation can be. I watched After Truth, an HBO documentary that dives into fake news and how it spreads, and it included an interview with the owner of Comet Ping Pong, the restaurant at the heart of Pizzagate. You could see the trauma in his eyes as he recounted the experience. The idea that a gunman stormed his restaurant fully believing in a debunked lie is terrifying. He could have easily killed innocent people because of a completely fabricated story. This incident is a chilling reminder of how quickly fake news can turn deadly and how fragile the line is between belief and action when fueled by fear and falsehoods. But it was also nice seeing the gratitude in his eyes when he went on to describe how his young staff and the surrounding community refused to let him shutter his business out of fear it could happen again. They kept showing up to support Comet, even bringing their kids. Normal Americans taking a stand against right-wing propaganda, and that was very heartening. There's a theory that the reason we haven't found aliens is that any advanced civilization eventually destroys itself. The idea is that once a society reaches a certain level of technological advancement, it also develops the means to cause its own extinction, whether through war, environmental collapse, or other catastrophic events. It's a bleak thought, suggesting that the silence in the universe might be the result of countless civilizations that have come and gone, leaving nothing behind but the echoes of their self-destruction. That there's an island where the world's rich and powerful go to rape underage girls. Oh, wait. That lord is really a 40YO man from Colorado. There's a theory that our politicians aren't evil or corrupt. They genuinely believe they're doing the best they can and think they're doing a great job. The unsettling part is that this might actually be true. It's the idea that their decisions, which often seem misguided or harmful, are made with the belief that they're helping, even if the results say otherwise. This perspective is almost scarier than the idea of outright corruption, because it suggests that our leaders might be so out of touch with reality that they can't see the damage they're causing. Medical knowledge and technology are more advanced than we think, but are kept from the public because they would cut into corporate profits. As a bonus, MK Ultra was not an isolated incident. USA and other govs continue secret tests on their own citizens. They just got better at hiding it. There's a theory that the stereotypical alien encounters, abductions, probing, and strange experiments aren't actually the work of extraterrestrials, but of humans from the future. The idea is that these future humans are coming back to study us, trying to figure out why we lost the ability to reproduce. This suggests that some catastrophic event or gradual decline in fertility has already started, and they're desperate to understand and possibly reverse it. The thought that these encounters might be our future descendants struggling to save humanity from extinction adds a haunting layer to the mystery. It implies that whatever causes the downfall of mankind is already in motion, and these aliens are a grim reminder of what's to come. The one that always terrified me because it actually happened, COINTELPRO. This is no longer a conspiracy, as it's been well documented that it actually happened. The conspiracy that came out of it that I truly believe to this day is that the FBI assassinated MLK Jr. There's a theory that when light bulbs were first invented, they were designed to last almost forever. However, manufacturers quickly realized this would limit their profits, so they deliberately engineered them to burn out after a certain period. This practice, known as planned obsolescence, ensures that consumers have to keep buying new bulbs, creating a continuous revenue stream. It's unsettling to think that products we rely on every day might be intentionally designed to fail just to keep the money flowing. This theory highlights the lengths to which companies might go to prioritize profit over quality and durability. The belief that vaccines cause autism or other health issues is not just a dangerous myth. It's terrifying because it's actively harming people, especially children who don't have a choice in the matter. Parents who buy into these false claims are putting their kids at risk by refusing life-saving vaccinations. The consequences are severe, as preventable diseases are making a comeback, endangering entire communities. It's a stark reminder of how misinformation can spread fear and lead to real tragic outcomes, particularly for the most vulnerable. Sucking your own dick feels less like getting a blowjob and more like giving one. These conspiracy theories might seem like pure fantasy, but they do have an impact on our society. It's important to remember that sometimes these theories stem from a fear of the unknown. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment about what surprised you the most. And be sure to click the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Stay safe and always be critical of the information you encounter.